Good morning. Welcome to week 8 of the IDITS course, Presbyterianism Can Be Fun. This week we are going global. We are looking at the transition from Christianity in Scotland, the story that we've traced from Celtic times through the medieval building of parishes and churches, through the Reformation with John Knox and the influence of Calvin, through the 17th century with the importance of the covenants and the Westminster Confession for giving a reformed Presbyterian identity to the church in Scotland. Then the 18th century with its time of relatively settled development in Scotland, the dealing with political stability, concerns about the north, and what was going on in the Highlands, the development of mission to the Highlands, the way in which concern for mission to Indians in North America was seen as being very similar to issues dealing with Highlanders, at least from a lowland point of view. In lowland Scotland, it's a time when General Assembly really comes into its stride, and the system of presbyteries, and for them synods, gives a sense of administration and a national identity as a church. But it also leads to division between two groups, the evangelicals and the moderates. And we see those different strands of mission, organisation, economic growth and the basis of society, in the evangelical concern for a felt faith and the rights of the people, moderate concern for good order, for politics, getting on properly with the government, coming together in the life of Thomas Chalmers, which we looked at last week. Chalmers is also part of the growth of the missionary movement in Scotland. He was fascinated shortly after his conversion, around about 1810, 1811, by the work of William Carey in India, and he was also very, very interested in Bible societies. Bible societies became the way in which it was possible to link a developing sense of order and moral discipline and financial self-discipline for even quite poor people, and contribution to spreading the gospel to other parts of the country and the world. He worked his ideas out in the famous experiment that he conducted in St. John's in Glasgow, particularly from 1819 to 1823, when he went to St. Andrews. At St. Andrews, his old university, Chalmers was very involved with the local town mission society, and with encouraging a group of young students, Alexander Duff, who went to India, and half a dozen others, in their interests in supporting mission worldwide. He returned to Edinburgh in 1828, firmly committed to overseas mission and to church extension at home. He becomes leader of the Evangelical Party, but then the conflict with the moderates over property rights, who could decide, who had the right of presentation to the minister, just built this whole conflict between evangelicals and moderates till it really consumed the life of the church and the interests of the nation, totally frustrated Parliament in Westminster. That background and its resolution through the breaking away of the Free Church of Scotland on the 18th of May 1843 is the background to New Zealand Presbyterianism that's of prime importance in the 19th century. But it's not the only background. What we come to thinking about this week is how that Christianity spread around the world and to New Zealand. It spread through many different sorts of people, and the question that I've sent in the email is to look at those different people, the role of colonial governors and civil servants, of merchants and traders and migrants, and also missionaries. and we can make comparisons between what happens in New Zealand, which we'll be studying from next week and the next couple of weeks up. Not very long, but we'll be looking at that. There is a transition, and we need to identify these different agents. Now, that story can be paralleled in other parts of the world. If we examine what happened to Christianity, Reformed Christianity in a country like Malaysia, for example, where I lived with my family during the 1980s, and that story's in the Reader and online, you can see that there are parallel things going on of a migrant church trying to establish itself, asking questions about its responsibility as Christians to the surrounding community. So you might like to read those. But just thinking ahead of books and sources that will be useful to you, not just for this week, but the weeks ahead. Alan Davidson's book, Christianity in Aotearoa, is well worth getting a copy of. It's fairly readily available from places like OC Books or UBS here in Dunedin, or you can borrow it from the Hewitson Library. Now, this isn't just about Presbyterians, because the factors involved in migration and in establishing the church in New Zealand are common to all Christian churches. So it enables us to place our story within that wider story. The particular Presbyterian story was written up in Presbyterians in Aotearoa, 1840 to 1990. If you haven't got a copy of your own, sometimes they turn up in second-hand bookshops, or you can borrow one from someone else. The Hewitson Library here at Knox, email hewitson@extra.co.nz. I'll be very happy to loan you one for the duration of the course, so that you can use this not only for reading chapters. This really becomes the reader for the next few weeks after week 8, but also background to your remaining assignments. And as you look at it, I ask you to get to know some of the people identified on the back here who were involved in this writing. Well, the photo is a bit younger than these folk today. Peter Matheson, Ian Bruard, Laurie Barber, Alan Davidson, Jim Veach, and Dennis McEldowney, who was the editor, put this book together. This is quite a collector's item, but still only about $15 if you're able to find one in a second-hand shop. Well, I hope you managed with this first attempt by me to put part of the course on YouTube. I'm still learning. It's all part of Presbyterianism is fun. Thanks. Bye.